the plantation outside Charleston, where his family has lived for 8 generations since 1672, Norwood Hasty was asked if he thinks slavery was immoral.
No, I don't. Because when a slave came from Africa, he couldn't speak the language. He was totally untrained to do any job at all that would fit in with the civilization. Someone had to take care of him. Someone had to take care of him 24 hours a day. And it's pretty hard to do that unless you owned a person. So I think slavery just had to be in those early days.
Is it possible that white people have something to do with the lack of ability for blacks to assimilate into this culture?
Absolutely. The white man has certainly been prejudiced and to quite an extent unfair. But customs die awful hard. It takes a long time, and everyone knew years ago that the Negro would have to be given equality. But in the South, knowing Negroes as we think we do, we realize it would take time. It's been compared to straightening teeth. It takes a slow, steady pressure. You can't do it with a hammer. And white people's attitudes will change in time. I'm a lot more liberal than I was 5 years ago, and I know I'll be a lot more liberal 5 years from now, and I think almost everyone else is in that category.
What has tended to make you more liberal?
Well, realization that the Negro is a human being like anyone else.
Mr. Hasty, what did you think we were before you began to think of us as human beings?
Well, in a way, we thought of you almost as a very superior pet.
I ain't waiting for nothing. I just show up to shine. That or don't show it all. Sit at home and unwind. They continue, they frontin'. They keep ignoring the signs. Ain't shit out there, I'm hunting. Everything in its time, and that's right now. That bright black with a sharp tongue and the beats crack. And he bites back with shark teeth and he eats that. That black blocker that can't stop when the coppers creep. And I don't show up, I'm trash talk, I'm fuck peace. I'm Chris Dorner, I'm Doberman Dirty, off leash. I'm Mike Brown, I'm Eric Garner, I can't breathe. We face down, our teeth are touching the concrete. They curb stomping us, wearing a crown in our streets. Shit, it makes that bullshit trivial. Gave a lot of trust in some years to some miserable. Castle made of sand, heavy hand holding shovels. And trouble man counts his real friends on his hook stump.
One thing that I hear a lot of is that it's not white people's fault for not knowing how people of color live, resist,
suffer,
struggle,
love,
create,
and too often die under the boot of racism and white supremacy.
I hear that. White people are simply ignorant. They don't know what they don't know.
The sight of the ship filled me with terror when I was carried on board. I was put down under the decks, and there with the loathsomeness of the stench and crying together, I became so sick and low that I was not able to eat. 2 of the white men offered me eatables, and on my refusing to eat, one of them held me fast by the hands while the other flogged me severely. The closeness of the place and the heat added to the number in the ship, which was so crowded that each had scarcely room to turn himself, almost suffocated us. The air soon became unfit for respiration from a variety of loathsome smells and brought on a sickness among the slaves, of which many died. The shrieks of the women and the groans of the dying rendered a scene of horror almost unbelievable.
If it's up to me, the only people in the streets with guns lead communities are hunt for food they need to fight through. Maybe peacefully, shit, but that's a big maybe. There's more than one way to skin than just cat. Not sure what's holding you back. There's nothing seriously stopping us getting blown off the map, oh yeah.
They just felt that until recently relations between Negroes and whites were just so very good. Just wonderful relations. It's outside agitators. And yet, it never occurs to them that they were good on whose terms? On their terms. You were just a doormat. And that's where the good relations came in. As long as you're a doormat, we have wonderful relations.
How would you like to go to work for me?
Yes, ma'am. How much you gonna pay me, I hope?
Well, let's see now. I'll pay you all your worth.
No, ma'am. I gotta have some money.